Hi, Tim O'Donoghue here with Relationship Store. Today I want to talk to you about relationship alchemy. It's my workshop coming up July 14th at Soderworld Wellness Center, which is in Willowbrook off of Route 83. And I'll be there July 14th. I will have a discussion at 9:30 and the workshop itself will be 10:30 till noon on that day. So I want to tell you a little bit about it. Relationship alchemy. Why the title? Well, first of all, alchemy, as many of you might know, is the medieval science of sorts where they believed that they could create gold out of different metals. And so there were scientists called alchemists who would try and mix different chemicals in order to make these metals, other metals, into gold, which would be a more expensive and more valuable gold. They searched for what they would call the philosopher's stone, which was a stone and made into a tincture, which supposedly was mixed with the metals to make it into gold. So that's the history of the word. Alchemy has come to mean like a spiritual change. I think we're all spiritual alchemists, and we can work on a negative situation to make it positive. And in a way, that's what a counselor does with the help of you as a client, is help you with your life and your relationships to take something that might be in a troubled spot or negative and make it into a positive thing. So relationship alchemy, I think that, in my context, the philosopher's stone is what I would call my dynamic mapping philosophy. And so I've been doing couples counseling for over 20 years, and what I've discovered is one of the most, if not the most important thing, is understanding the dynamic of the couple and how it interacts. We might call that a cycle or a pattern, but this dynamic helps or hurts people in terms of keeping them on their pathway of life. So if you think about life for a minute, that we have a pathway, or I like to call, we have a most beautiful pathway, which leads to our destined outcome, which we have control over in terms of some of the aspects of us staying on that pathway. And when negative things happen, when we do things or don't do things or things happen to us, it's an interesting way, and I find a helpful way to look at it, is if we've fallen off our path. Okay, we've gone off the path. So then simply the solution is to come back to the path or back closer to source or to God or whatever you might visualize that center being. Balance is definitely important in life, in science, in all aspects in religion and day-to-day life. So having balance, and the balance being centered on your pathway or your most beautiful path. So dynamic mapping, what it is taking a couple's history, understanding the traumas they may have faced in their childhood and prior to meeting each other even. So they might not be all from childhood, some might be later on. Their communication styles. Some people are more assertive, some people are more deferent, some people are in between, some people are straightforward in how they say things, some people kind of beat around the bush. So different communication styles, as well as conflict styles. Understanding you and your partner's conflict style can be helpful. Are you an avoider? Are you an aggressive confrontation non-avoider starter? And those things are important too, and as well as your needs. Your needs in the relationship, believe it or not, go back a lot to childhood too. Unmet needs in childhood, the category of those, for instance, to be heard or to be understood or to have someone spend time with us, those definitely play out in our relationships with our significant other. And so those needs seem to be still there. Understanding that, as well as our triggers and your partner's triggers, because oftentimes a couple might have conflict and they don't realize that they've triggered the other person because it's not their intent, and then they're having two different conversations. So knowing those triggers is important, as well as what I call the flow points. What are your partner's hot buttons? What motivates them? What makes them happy? To know those and be able to interact. The love languages. Some people prefer love in terms of words or touch or gifts or time spent. So all those things are a part of the dynamic map. So this is part of the dynamic map, which I help people to understand as a couple. And then there's what I call the integration phase. This is taking this information that's collected, seeing what works and what doesn't in your dynamic, understanding it, and adding new or different tools to the dynamic to create a more desired outcome. So hopefully you'll join me on July 14th, and I will have some examples. I'm going to bring some real case examples from clients I've worked with, so that's always interesting. And you will have a better idea of this, and in fact, might even leave the workshop with your own dynamic map of your relationship. So again, Tim O'Donohue Relationship Store. And any questions, feel free to always call me, 630-974-6777. You can call or text that number. Or my email is todonohue, Todonohue, at relationshipstore.com, .org, sorry. And Relationship Store is at 241 South Frontage Road, Suite 36 in Burr Ridge, Illinois. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you on the 14th and talking to you soon. Bye-bye.